some good. Going up till we get faded. You know how we do it. Everybody take a flex of me. I got the keys to the city. I don't need no limousine. I turn up when I pull up. Tell me what
25. I've made $1 million in commissions.
Running around with the paper bag. Going crazy spending all this cash. Going crazy spending all this cash. If I spend it, I'ma get it back.
Hey, how's it going? You're the homeowner, right? 5 years in the making. That's what it took to get both of us here today. This man right here, Wes, changed my life forever. Starting 5 years ago, I was facing a year in prison after I just got a DWI, and then got caught with a weed charge right after, broke my probation. And immediately after, I started looking at videos online. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm going to jail. And I was just operating out of pure fear. And I found Wes right here. He saved my life. In that very moment, that's when I met Wes. And it took 5 years for me to officially hire him. And here we are. Wes, thank you.
Yeah. What you got?
Well, I want to start off by asking you to introduce yourself.
Well, the crazy thing is I'm going to tell them how we really met. I was actually, I was in Miami, obviously. I'd been traveling back and forth from California to Miami, and I got a call. Zach is friends with one of my other clients, and he was going to a fucking type of rave party at Space nightclub that night in Miami, and he's telling me he's doing this. And I'm such a fucking massive advocate of sobriety and none of this bullshit. And you guys, he's successful at his age. He makes good money selling solar, and he has a promising future. But why on earth do you young people believe you should be going to places where people are overdosing and taking shitloads of, I don't know what they take nowadays, ecstasy, Molly, they drink, whatever the fuck. There's probably new drugs now I don't even know about. But this was like what was it, a 3-day party or something?
I think it was 4 or 5 days. I lost myself, to be honest.
Yeah, so this when we talked, and he's asking me if he should, he's telling me his plans, and after this big party at Space Nightclub, which I drive to on the way to Elevation, there's fucking people out front dressed half naked and clothes at like 9 a.m. in the morning, still going in this fucking club, and I'm going to the gym. He's asking me if he should go to it still, and I'm like, bro, we don't fucking do that shit. By the time we had our first meeting, he had fully turned around and stopped all the using of everything, just real quick. He was ready right away to make this change.
Overnight. It changed my entire life. It happened about, 6-7 months ago. It was October, November. And right after that first one-on-one, he didn't yell at me, nothing. He just said, no alcohol, probably shouldn't do that. And I already knew coming into it, deep down subconsciously, I knew I needed to drop all of these things. I knew I needed to drop the vices. I knew I needed to drop the party. And I just needed somebody like Wes to tell me, a true leader.
Yeah, most people, you guys, their conscience has been telling them to quit for a long time. So the first thing I always ask them is like, so you know you should quit. And I asked Zach, I'm like, you know your conscience is telling you to stop, right? He's like, of course. And so then I always followed up with, you know that this could be your last time. And that's what God is warning you about, that this right here could be the last drink you take. This could be the last pill you take, the last line you fucking sniff, the last night you just go out in general, because your conscience is up. Your conscience is getting louder. You guys see, his conscience was loud enough for him to even contact me. So when people contact me, I know that the voice inside of him, God, because your conscience is the authentic voice of God. God is very loud to Zach at this time because he's trying to make a choice that's out of alignment with his path. So God is trying to course correct him. And here he lands on my lap in my fucking coaching. And I say, you're hearing that you should quit, right? And he says, yes. Little do I know you just got the DUI. And I mean, how many more fucking signs did you need?
Years and years of signs, man. My dad, he did cocaine. My mom always told me she always warned me against it. She told me that my dad did that, got addicted to it. I have a highly addictive personality. I'm either all in or all out. And that's what really attracted me to Wes, is that's just who we are deep down. And I didn't realize at the time that addicts are some of the most committed people. They're just committed to the wrong things. And that's essentially, I was committed to the wrong path. And I kept committing even though I got the same result. I got a DWI. Right after my DWI, I went home with a friend not 6 months later, and then immediately drove and drunk. And there was a cop right behind me, didn't pull me over, but if he did, I would have been in prison. And then I got a weed charge not 2 months later after that. And then I got off of my probation, and I just kept going back into it. But all the while, I'm building up my business. I'm building up in door-to-door sales. I'm building all these strong relationships that are extremely valuable long-term. But at the same time, I'm walking two paths. And what you guys really, what I've learned from Wes, most importantly, is you have to choose one path. You have to. And you have to remove all the vices. You have to remove the things that don't serve you to build yourself up. But you can't do both at the same time. It's impossible.
Yeah, success is subtractive.
It is.
So if you don't remove everything that's out of alignment with your outcome, how the fuck could anyone even be stupid enough to believe they're going to get their outcome? They're constantly deterred by actions, thoughts, and energy that's out of alignment with their outcome. So they don't realize, most people don't realize they're aligned with an outcome they don't fucking want, which you were. I mean, he's going to a fucking rave, talking to the guy who calls all that shit so fucking bitch and so fucking pussy and such an escape of who you are. How could you willingly decide to escape who you are for a few fucking hours or days or whatever and not realize it's because you do not love and respect yourself? With someone who loves and respects himself, they do not want to escape who they are ever. And the fact is that if anything, they would want to spend time alone with themselves because they love themselves so much. They're going to go recharge themselves. They're going to go sift through negative traits that they possess to come back better. What I taught Zach from the beginning was the craziest thing is, like, what if he were to 10x all his characteristics? And he goes a different route than a lot of my guys. You got to know that. A lot of my people, they go the more savage route like me, but Zach's, he's more emotional. He gets more attached to himself and like, an emotional way where he's always saying, it brings me to tears. I get so grateful. He's a real grateful individual. And I like when people bring something different to the table. So that's why we want to do this podcast today, because he's going to bring a different level of understanding of what this process has done for him. But the whole facts behind it is emotional motivators are your strongest source of motivation. When I was in prison, all I ever thought about was my future family and creating the man that would be best for his future family. Now, you guys have seen me fail twice with two different families. I mean, my first wife, I was a stepfather to her son. It didn't work out. And then my second, which I was a stepfather to her daughters, and it didn't work out. And people see that, and they're like, how can you talk so freely about all this stuff when you failed? That's where success comes from, you guys. And it's not necessarily a failure on my part, because there's two individuals in a relationship. So I never blame anyone. I think there has to be a connection. But the main thing that I taught Zach is to bring, what if the greatest gift he knew he could bring to other people was a better version of himself? So how do you guys not get when I say that your purpose in life, everyone wants to know their purpose. How do you guys not get that your fucking purpose in life is to create the individual you admire in all ways and give that person to the world? That's what we're doing with Zach, is bringing the best version of him to the world. And he will continually steer more towards where he's comfortable, which is the emotional side of him, the grateful side, the side that he knows needs the most work. But then I steer him back towards the side that's needed for men nowadays, which is his height, the size he could put on, the individual he could create. Because I see a different side of him where he's going to be able to create this larger-than-life individual by putting on a shitload of size over the next 5 to 7 years and possessing that emotional connection that he has. So sit back right now and imagine that person that we're creating for him, the 10.0 version of Zach, and then do that same exercise for yourself, you guys. How has the process really worked for you, bro?
It's completely changed my life. It's an inside-out process, and at the end of the day, that's who I always, as a leader, that's what I always cut to the core. I'm not a very surface level person, and I think it's down to the emotions, because I want to understand how someone feels, why they feel what they feel, and change that. Because for me, the reason that I'm at where I'm at is because of all the emotion that I have deep within. And all the reason I've been successful in business is because I was raised by a single mother. And being raised by a single mother, we lived paycheck to paycheck. And that, people call it trauma. I mean, what's your take on trauma?
I don't even fucking think that. I think these people are just literally fucking whiners who actually unless it's real serious. When people call stupid shit like that a problem, then they take away all the power from the people who are actually suffering from something that really happened to them. So I think it's a grossly overused term, but
100%.
I mean, the fact of it is if you guys understand this, we have to create the other half to Zach, because he does fit the demographic of men that are causing a massive problem in society. And he's working on that, which you guys all should too, which is being overly mothered and underly fathered. His father was absent. So he has to step up now and create that side of him, so that when he does have a family, when he does guide his solar team, when he is leading other men, he's not leading them incorrectly like most of society that has fallen into this category of men. And I mean, that's what we're working on. That's what all you guys that know you don't possess that half should work on. Because my dad was present. My dad's a savage ass beast motherfucker, to where I came out this way. And I mean, we have to really measure backwards and see why we are who we are. And it's nothing the only thing that separates two individuals is their habits. So we don't have to worry about why he is how he is and sit here and dissect it so much. We have to just create habits on the other side of his weakness.
Right.
So if his weakness is in one area, then we have to create a habit on the other side of that. Yep. His strengths that he has helps people like me, because the emotional side, the deeper connection, the spiritual connection that he has will help me, because I get into fucking a murderous mindset real easy, and I need to be talked out of that. So you guys can see how it's the black and the white, the yin and the yang that most people don't possess, that's really going to work in this life. So everybody does have a very valuable side of them, no matter how they were raised. But you have to be responsible and honest enough and accountable enough to say, I'm missing this side,
It's all about self-mastery.
100%.
And you gotta,
what does that take?
Well, it takes taking your weakness and making it your greatest strength.
It takes honesty.
Honesty.
How can you find your weakness if you're not honest? So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is most people, including myself, we aren't honest with ourselves. We don't look at ourselves in the mirror and actually ask ourselves if we're proud and be truthful about it. I never did that. And so you need someone like Wes or someone like me who can hold you accountable and just tell you how it is.
See, and then people will be like, oh, well, Wes is going to yell at me about these areas.
Good.
That's what I'm saying. The thing is, like, love ain't lies. You get disciplined because people care about you. If people don't discipline you, they don't give a fuck. If they're not even spending their time and energy to correct you, they don't give a fuck. But it's the same thing. It's a two-way street. I'm held accountable in areas that I need help, and you guys will be held accountable in areas you need help. It's not just
and that's
one-sided.
That's the thing. Throughout my entire career, I've ran into countless leaders, all of which were very good leaders, but none of them really held me accountable. Nobody really...
They couldn't.
They didn't
live it.
Exactly. And so nobody really told me directly how it was, and everybody was afraid of me because of my potential. They saw my potential and they didn't want to lose me. So they were deep down, they were operating out of fear.
That's a lot of reasons why top people never hit their highest potential, top CEOs and top individuals, because the people lower than them will never correct them because they need something from them. Mm-hmm. The best coach is going to need nothing from you. He's going to want nothing from you. He's going to want everything for you. Right. And I've told that to a lot of people recently, even some females I coached that maybe would think a man like me or men want something from them in the sexual nature. And it's like, I could never want that from you. I want so much more for you. I'm correcting you in a manner that will have you not go back into these same cycles of tormenting yourself by committing the same fucking mistakes over and over. But that's one of the things I see with women. Is a lot of men want stuff from them, and they're not thinking, what can I do for this person to build them? And that's one of the things I want society to start thinking of more in the form of being relational over transactional, because we're fucking up society. We are. We're fucking shit up by the men being too weak, and then men also, not utilizing their leadership correctly. And I think that's a huge problem. And you guys, this motherfucker's like, what are you, like 6'5"?
Yeah.
This motherfucker's like 6'5", and he's young. I see that he could be such a force. He doesn't fucking see it. I'm fucking 40. He doesn't know what he could be in 7 years if he really puts the work in. Because he already can speak well. He's already deeply, he's already accountable and has a high level of awareness. But the fact is that we need to take him to a different level in what's known as pattern disruption, which works well for the internet and life. Because if you see a formidable opponent walk in, you automatically raise awareness. Like your awareness level is raised when someone who's got a certain status, size, or height, or anything steps in,
Right. Yep. Going back to your question earlier, the process that you've put me through and showed me has completely changed my life. I want to ask you, where did you find that process? How did you develop that process?
Penitentiary. The penitentiary, all you have is the way you conduct yourself. So if a man is only validated in the penitentiary by his daily habits, then mine have to be greater than yours. So if you get up at 4, I get up at 3. If you get up at 3, I get up at 2:45. If you do one workout, I do 2. If you think you're dieting well, I make sure I'm more ripped than you. The thing is, if you use drugs and I don't, I trump you as well. So we're just, in prison, it's really a soldier's mentality to where, are you an asset or a liability? It's real binary. Let's check this guy out. When the riot kicks off, is he an asset I want around him, or is he a liability? So that's really where it's formed. So you're always training for war in prison. And you want the people around you who are going to be soldiers that you want next to you. So that's where it came from, is just constant training.
Where do you think you got the motivation, the drive to just keep pushing forward like you do?
Vision. So I have a vision of what I could be, and that's why I get pissed at you when you slip, because my vision of what I know you will be, and if you don't adhere to it, it pisses me off because I already know what you will be. The same thing as a lot of my clients. They think that I'm saying they're not shit right now, but I'm really telling them I know what you could be, and I know what you will be if you do what I tell you. And they can't see it because they're yet to attain it. I've got so far in such a short amount of time that I know with my help to someone like yourself, it's not going to take you as long as it took me. You're going to time collapse the outcome, and you're going to essentially, the student will always surpass the master, because evolution will just dictate that. You're starting with an easier start point and a more clear, detailed blueprint if you adhere to it. Very few people do, though. So you're weeding through the people who actually have the self-belief. And that's where I'm always looking. Does this person really believe in themselves? I don't look at people's talent as much as I look at how much they believe in themselves.
Why do you think some people have the belief that they can do
Follow
it?
through. So every time you went to knock on a door that you sold the person, now you believe that you can sell more because you've done it so many times. It's always someone's follow through. Like everything that you've set out to attain, if you've achieved it, any goal you've set out to achieve, if you achieved it, the more notches you have on your belt, the more stripes you have. I mean, that's just the more confidence you have. You've set out to hit these fucking goals, and you do it time and time again. So why would you believe this one is going to be the one that slips through your fingertips? It's not going to be. You get everything done. And that's why I make sure my people start with their daily habits and get it all done every day. Because in all reality, where else are you going to find this many wins every day? Wake up time, win. Reading and reflecting, win. Workout, win. The macros, 5 meals, 5 wins. Now we got 8 wins already. Turning down drugs, alcohol, or vices, that could be a multitude. I actually spoke with one of the top, most famous people on the planet, and he was telling me about his vice. And I said, how many times a day does it call you? And he said, a lot. I said, 20? He's like, yeah, about that. I said, good. If you turn it down 20 times, you have 20 fucking wins that someone else didn't have. And he's like, I never thought of it that way. I said, it's actually a gift. So anything that pulls at you that's a vice, drugs, alcohol, porn, fucking anything of this sort, overeating. When you turn it down, it's at one of the biggest W's you'll ever have. Like when you're trying to drop weight and you're very hungry at night and you want to go raid the cupboards, but you don't, and you wake up in the morning and you feel that much tighter, you feel like you lost more weight, it's one of the biggest wins you could ever have because it took true sacrifice.
What are the biggest vices that you struggle with?
Oh, me? I mean, okay, you guys, you have to first understand what I refer to a vice as. So I've defined a vice as something that's instantly gratifying and then later regret ensues. So it's at first very gratifying and then you regret it later. That is my definition of a vice. It may not be the Webster's fucking definition, dictionary's definition of a vice, but it's mine and it works fine for me. That's what mindset training is, setting standards and upholding them. So even anger is a vice to me. For me to get really angry and check someone or something like that, it's very gratifying at first, and then regret ensues. So anger's always been my biggest vice. Before that, it was alcohol, drugs, and those are about it.
So what really drew me to you is how far along the journey of self-mastery you are. Where is your next level up? Like, where do you think
my next level is always coming back to what means the most to me through life handing me certain scenarios. So every time life comes knocking, life hands me a certain fucking scenario. Every time life comes and humbles me a bit, what's always there? What's remaining? Me and the people I've built. So the people I've built and myself are the only two things ever remaining when everything else goes to shit. So my level up is to never forget that. Not one moment through every day to remember the people that ride with me and the people that I stand behind or stand beside and stand with is everything to me. So first and foremost, I can never slip as a leader because if I slip, they fall. And second, I can turn to them because we're on the same path. You can't expect your friends, your family, your significant other, or any of these people to be on the same path as the people like us who've been on a journey together for a long period of time. So it's really just me keeping massive focus on the people around me. And a lot of people will think they're lonely, in this world full of, 8 billion people or something. It's the craziest thing to believe someone's ever lonely. But they are, because these are judgmental people. They only want to be around certain people. They don't want to be around people. I've learned to connect with people through the internet. So the point is I have an endless abundance and surplus of individuals I can connect with, and I don't discern to their race, background, gender, or any of the above. So what I've learned to do is realize we're all truly connected. We're all brothers and sisters, and I have people from every background that truly means a lot to me. I've lost every family member multiple times from just not agreeing with Wes Watson's way of being. And then, which you guys will too. When you guys are on your journey of growth and changing, the people around you aren't, so you're going to lose them. They'll probably come back, but you're going to be on a path of separating from all your original friends, family, and everyone like that. So when I say I lose them, yeah, I get them back in my life, but it's still painful. But the whole thing is the people that will always be there for you is the people on the path with you that don't end up stepping off.
Yeah, I lost a lot of people whenever I met you.
Every time we got on a call, he would be like, dude, what the fuck? This kid that I raised and I taught him how to sell, and he's like one of my best friends and business partner, he fucking trying to get me to do coke. He's trying to get me to party, and I can't even fucking I'm out with them on a vacation and they're trying to get me away from what's best for me, calling me a friend, saying I'm not a friend because I won't partake in the shit they want me to do that's horrible for me. You guys, these aren't your fucking friends. It's not your fucking friend if they're trying to get you to drink, do drugs, or do anything that's detrimental to the evolution of your consciousness. That is not your fucking friend. But you always had that happen. But then I would tell you, it's part of it. You can't take everyone with you.
How do you balance, because whenever I first went through your program and the massive shift that I had internally, I tried to push that on people and hold them accountable, but I was I overly pushed it. How do you balance holding somebody accountable in grace?
I mean, I don't.
Okay.
I go straight to I go straight. I want the people who are ready. I know my level, and I need people who are ready to commit now. So I go very intensely. That's why a lot of people have an adverse reaction to my message because they're not ready. But the people who are ready, they need the intensity and the call the way I do it. The people who aren't ready, they're like, whoa, that's awfully crazy. It's like, yeah, to you. You're not about to lose your life like some of the other people are.
How do you separate the people that aren't ready and are?
By talking a certain way that'll make them just have an adverse reaction to my message. I want them to not be ready. I want to separate the two. And that's by me being very intense and very direct and calling it how it is.
So when you talk about different stages of consciousness, what would you say are the stages of consciousness in your experience?
I can't really break down those. I mean, I go with the frequency chart.
Okay.
I mean, the frequency chart is right when you're getting into the higher frequency mind states or emotional states, it's neutrality, it's love, it's gratitude, it's acceptance, or it's neutrality, it's acceptance, it's love, it's gratitude, it's enlightenment, you know. But
so what is enlightenment?
Enlightenment is when you're in complete flow state. You have zero fear. You're operating from complete faith. You're not questioning anything.
How do you tap into that?
The sensory world subsides. You're not worried about bills. You're not worried about anything. You're at complete peace. And that's just when you're not noticing time as it passes by.
How do you tap into that?
Answering the call of your conscience. So your conscience is calling you to do certain things. Now, once you commit all the acts that your conscience is calling you to do, you're granted flow state. It's a gift from above. It's the greatest gift you could ever been given. So when you know that God's speaking to you in your heart, and that's your conscience, and you do everything that he's telling you to do that day, you're abiding by your conscience. You're completely congruent with it. What happens is you're granted flow state. And he shows you, hey, you can live here if you just do what I tell you. And when you do live there, everything's possible. You attract everything. And in a world full of people who are chasing shit, I mean, attraction is key.
How do you go from externalization to internalization? Or what would you say to people who externalize everything? Their whole life.
Not going to solve anything. The only way you can solve problems is internally. The thing is the stimulus is only looked at through the eye of the beholder. So one set of stimulus from one person could look like the worst thing in the world. And to another person, it could even be a gift. I mean, look at how we live in America. Like someone could get gifted something as a spoiled ass fucking child in America and be like, fuck is this? I don't want this. I wanted the other thing. And then you give that to some kid in a third world country, and it would be the greatest day of their life. I mean, just the diet. Think about dieting. The diet food that most of my clients eat that they think is so difficult and so hard is a meal that some people in another country will never eat their entire life. And they're sitting here complaining about this food that's so nasty. It's not what they want. It's not, it's just not what they want to do. And someone else will never have that much nutrients in their life. So this is what completely shows you how flawed someone's perception is due to how they're raised.
So I've seen you, I mean, you did it with me, but I've seen you take hundreds, if not thousands of people seemingly overnight from a state of non-gratitude, from, complete self-abuse to self-love and gratitude, almost from the lowest state to the highest state. It seems like that's your bread and butter. How do you do that? Like you
got to understand there's only low frequency Zach and high frequency Zach. There's two versions of you. There's the low frequency version of you. There's the high frequency version of you. Most people their entire life have defined themselves at that low frequency Zach, where nothing's going to work out. I'm ugly. I hate myself. There's no way someone can love me. I'm not going to amount to anything. Why do I even try? That's the lowest, fucking horrible rock bottom, shameful version of an individual. And that's usually that usually happens because you're disrespecting yourself with your actions. So it would have to be some breaks in character, some vices that you're partaking in that totally just expose you to yourself that you're living incorrectly. Now, we remove all that. Now you realize that humans are naturally operating at a high frequency state. Humans naturally operate at a high frequency state. So we remove everything that causes the guilt and shame, the low frequency state, and then we just increase the variables of the things that humans do. And I mean, eat cleaner. We always have been active humans have always been drawn to being very active and physical. So increase physical capacity, so peak physical performance. And then we're social creatures, so socializing. So I mean, sharing our journey, sharing who we are with those around us, working out with the intent of being a strong protector, provider, an individual, and on the other side of just gathering their health and being grateful for the body and the life they've been given. So what are your intentions? If you're living intentionally with the creation of a better individual to serve those around you is the easiest way you can achieve that. So it's selfless, the whole thing. I'm going to work my hardest to build the best version of me so I can give it to the world. Our purpose.
So my whole life, I've chased the present moment. And a big part of that was meditation. So I would go sit in a corner and do nothing, thinking that the present moment would come to me. How do you help somebody get into the present moment?
Well, I always say whatever you chase runs. So you'll never be able to catch something that you're chasing. The whole thing is we're already present. You have to just be. And how do you just be? You listen to your conscience. You don't have to meditate. In all reality, meditation works as an exercise, but sooner or later, you should be in a meditative state for most of your day. And people are going to try to debate all this, but they haven't got anywhere from their supposed meditation. They're just fucking people who are engaging in spiritual bypassing. I live in a complete meditative state and state of visualization with my stoic habits that are aligned with the action, bringing into fruition what I'm visualizing. So, I mean, I'm always visualizing the outcome I want, and I'm aligning my daily stoic habits with the creation of what I'm visualizing, the future that I'm bringing into fruition. Now, where does the meditation come into play? I don't really use the words people use. I don't really engage in what people engage in. I've become something different from living in the present moment for a lot longer than most people. And people think they're present, but I look at them, I'm like, there's no way you're present. I can read your self-talk. You're not okay with yourself. And like, what do you mean? I'm like, in order to be present in the moment, you have to be proud of your presence. You're not. Like, I'm reading your self-talk. You don't like where you're at. You don't like who you are. You're holding yourself to standards that you're yet to even come close to meeting, and you're fucked until you really just start to slow down and do one thing at a time perfectly. So you just do one thing at a time, exactly how it should be done. Then the next thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. And moment by moment, you start to cultivate the internal state that you want your world to appear as. And now once you start doing this for days on end, hours on end, weeks on end, months on end, your life starts to shift into it. And I mean, it's not like fucking rocket science, dude. It's just not. People just overthink everything, and they think they can think their way into everything. You have to act your way into positive thinking. You can't think your way into most of this shit. And these are people who suffer from overanalysis paralysis. Like, they think so much that they just never end up doing the fucking work. And I'm someone who does so much work that I don't even have to think that much about the outcome.
How much do you sleep?
Oh, not much.
How much is not much? Because this week, I think I've seen you sleep maybe 2-3 hours a day, if that. From the little bit that...
Yeah, I've adapted. In prison, I've adapted to living different than most people. But people just think it's not possible. Most billionaires, most super successful people, they do suffer from what's called like euphoric mania. So there's a book written about billionaires and hyper successful people and it's called like the manic edge or some shit like that. I forgot the title of it, but it's about having a different mindset. Like you're wired differently, and it's not necessarily that you're born that way. You were someone who chased everything you wanted for so long that you didn't slow down. It's like sprinting a marathon. To get to the levels that I've got to this quick, to get to this, to be a self-made billionaire in society, most people, I'm not saying I'm a self-made billionaire, but I'm just saying the people who are really hyper successful, they're sprinting a marathon. And that's the whole thing. Like people play so much defense that they never truly play offense correctly. And I tell people I'm going to commit so much offensive act. I'm going to commit so much offense. It's going to be offensive to motherfuckers.
How do you balance the hate? How do you take the hate?
Oh, I love it. Like people hating on us at the highest level, it doesn't even reach us. These frequencies don't vibrate. Someone this high and someone down here, these frequencies don't even vibrate. So when I do see hate and I do experience hate, I'm just like, oh, thank you. You just reminded me I'm in a low frequency state. If I can even see it, then I'm negative at that moment. I'm in a low frequency state at that moment if I even see hatred. Usually if I get vibing so high, someone could be trying to hate on me so bad and I would just shift it to love. I'd be like, hey, you totally must love me a lot. And you can sense that it doesn't bother me. But if I'm in a low frequency mindset, I'll actually react. Fuck you. Like shit like that. That's okay. Everyone wants to be like, look, you were wrong. You reacted. It's completely fine to be a human being. But it's not okay to not be successful in this world where you're saying you know shit. That's what people say, they know shit and they're not successful. And then they have a biased assessment of what their success is, which doesn't fly.
So what do you talk about the human potential? And I've tapped into way more of my potential in the last 6 months than I could have ever imagined. I pretty much operate in flow state at all points in time. I'll come out every once in a while, but you've given me the tools to come right back into it. But how deep does that really go? Like what abilities do you think humans are capable of?
Humans are supposed to live in flow state 24/7. You're supposed to go from flow state to flow state to flow state. You're supposed to just know when the window closes. If you're doing door-to-door sales and you just start to hate on it super bad, well then how do you bring yourself back? You probably have to do something physical like some burpees or push-ups or run or something to really get yourself back into flow state. You have to separate yourself from the narrative that's taking place in your mind. So as you're doing the door-to-door door knocking for solar or whatever, you're like, fuck this, I hate this, I don't want to do this anymore. That negative internal dialogue will slowly start to erode at any high frequency state you were possessing. So as it starts to erode at it, you just start to be at a lower and lower frequency. The only way to pick that back up is to understand that's what's taking place. Some people just think they hate their job and it's a bad career instead of a bad moment. There's no such thing as a bad life, a bad career, a bad relationship, or a bad anything. There's bad moments. And if you string together bad enough moments, then people can define something in totality as good or bad, but there's only bad moments. And I wish I could really explain this to even like people who have been in my life. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? You're defining your life as something negative. It's just a bad fucking moment, and we can flip it. We have the power to flip this moment. How fucking stupid are you? They just don't get it. They get so caught up in their way of thinking. They get so caught up in victimizing themselves that they spin a narrative till they make it true. And this is what losers do. Losers lose so often that they have to win. And sometimes the way they win is creating a narrative where they lose and making sure it happens. It's fucking psycho. They're so good at self-sabotaging that they're like, see, this won't even work. This isn't even going to work. And they make it not work. And then they're proud that they're right, that it didn't work. They're so against themselves, bro. It is the craziest shit I've seen people do. And I watch them do it. I'm like, you know, you totally brought that scenario into fruition, right? They'll never believe it. They're so unaware that they don't even know they're doing it. Only winners can understand this because they're watching you out of alignment with the outcome you want and fully aligned with the outcome you don't want. And then they watch you walk straight into it.
So you talk a lot about God and alignment. Are you religious?
I believe in God. I believe we were created by God. I mean, I don't know if it's Jesus. I don't know. I don't even care about all that. People who swear they know, like, it's this for sure. I mean, come on. You're really going to do that? Like, does it matter? Like, if we all fucking operate under the core values and virtues that we all should operate under as humans, the universal laws that govern us, isn't that good enough? Do we really have to argue about what he looks like or who he is? I don't think that. I don't think that's I don't think that's productive at all.
Right. Yeah, I see it a lot in my life. A lot of people come to me about different religious perspectives, and I wonder, because I've gotten a lot of flack and heat for it, because I do talk about, higher states of consciousness and really just being able to tap into flow state. That's really it.
When I had ego about it, I was adverse to people saying that I was speaking about God. When I had an ego about it, which was like, I'm not sure I should talk about this, or will people try to fucking challenge this? Like that's when you have an ego. You're like, they're gonna try to challenge this topic, and like you start to be negative about it. Now I don't care. I just say what I say about it, and it doesn't matter. No one can challenge me. I don't even report to people. I don't report down here. I don't report to haters. I don't report to people who have spoke ill on me. God knows exactly what my intentions are, exactly how I've conducted myself, and I report above. Everyone who's ever tried to actually cancel me or take me down or speak negatively on me, they actually canceled themselves because they couldn't live with the fact that they know they were lying. And what happens is the body takes score, and you watch them erode themselves. They'll go from being on our team and just getting ripped and killing it and all this shit, and they're winning, and then they go against you and they make up lies and they try to be a certain way, and you watch them destroy themselves because they can no longer look themselves in the mirror at how they just fully flipped the script, made a false narrative about you, and like I said, the body takes score. It starts to wear them down physically. I watch it happen every time. And it's sad because I don't want that to happen to them. So I'm like, what do you guys, like, hey, stop lying. Like, it's actually affecting you. And they're like, fuck you. Like, you're this and that. And I was like, oh, just stop. It's affecting you more than me. I'm not fazed by it. It's not harming my life. You're deteriorating yourself with the hatred. And it's just, if we could teach people not to be that way, but they see my stuff as hatred. They see me calling people out as hateful because they don't like being called out. It doesn't matter whether the fuck you like it or not. It is the truth. Like, if you can't take the truth, then you're not going to be able to grow. And if you can't take the truth from someone above you that's in the position you want to be in, then you're never going to get there. And the only thing that keeps them from ever getting there really is they can't take the truth, and they're not honest about where they want to go. I mean, so you being honest about where you want to go and being someone who will take the criticism, you're going to grow faster than everyone. And it's just what it is. I mean, I don't know why people don't understand that you can time collapse an outcome because you've done it before. It's not difficult.
Why do you think people lie to themselves so much?
Because they're scared to fail again. They've done nothing but fail. And they're like, not again, not again. Then they don't even believe they could do it, so they have to denounce it to begin with. They have to denounce that they even want it because they don't believe they could do it. It's fucking crazy.
How do you get somebody out of that?
Continually wear them down and show them. You have to be what you literally have to live and let them witness. Live and let witness. Don't even try to persuade them, because then you're chasing and they'll run. Whatever you chase runs. Don't chase them and try to help them. Like, literally, live and let witness. They'll come to you when they're ready. Everything will come to you when it's ready. That's why when people are like, I need this level of success, I'm like, you're not going to force it, bro. You're not ready for it. Like, you may think you're ready for it. You want it so bad that you're going to misuse it. Like, if someone really wanted a Bugatti so bad, they'd crash it the first day, bro. They would fucking go drive it like such a fucking idiot. Like, people who really are ready to have really crazy nice shit, they won't even use it the same as someone who doesn't. Someone who's not ready would use it way differently than someone who is ready. Someone who is ready will be like me and have two of the craziest places and never party at them once. He'll have a mastermind there of people who want to better their lives. Like, there will never be a party.
Yeah.
Someone like me will drive his Bugatti normal. He's not going to go fucking race it around and crash it. You know, it's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, I was just in the your place in Brickell. There's like nothing in that place.
Yeah, I don't use...
There's like nothing.
I use my places are for my peace. I was in prison forever. Even in prison, your cell is very orderly. My stuff is orderly as fuck.
How you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Dude, look at the trunk of someone's fucking car. Look at their fucking... I don't even have a junk drawer in my house. If you go in my drawers, everything's in bags or in storage bins. Like, everything is so organized, you can see that's how my mind works. You go in most people's houses, you're like, hey, they can't even find it. They can't find their keys. They don't even have a system. I have so many car keys. You have to have a system. These people are losing shit that they're using daily. Like, I notice when I'm really, really thrown off and really tired, I'll opt out of my system. All my stuff won't go in the same spot where I walk in. So I'll walk in and I'll set them by the front door. And I'm like, why do I do that when I'm tired? Like, am I sabotaging myself? What the fuck is this? But when I'm fully operating perfectly, I go set everything down in the right area. And I'm never tired because of lack of sleep. I'm tired because I've let things drain my energy. I've let things drain my energy that weren't for me. I was chasing an outcome that wasn't for me, or a person that wasn't supposed to be in my life, and it drained me. I've never been drained from lack of sleep. I actually get energized from lack of sleep because I have really affirming, positive self-talk where the fact that I can be up for long periods of time and still operate well, I give myself props for it. I'm like, you're a motherfucker. Nobody could fucking operate like you. You've had no sleep and you still did 4 plates for 9 reps, you fucking savage. Like, I talk to myself well when I have less. And a lot of people will talk to themselves the opposite way when I haven't had enough sleep. There's no way I could do this. I gotta go home. Like, I gotta get a nap. Like, they're always in a mindset, and their self-talk is experiencing a lot of lack of. Mine is always like, we have completely enough. We don't need that shit. You can't fuck with me, motherfucker. Like, even on your best day, I could have less sleep and beat you. You know, that's just how I talk to myself. I love that shit. If you've really, like, sat there and watched a champion's mind work when he's facing adversity or his back's against the wall, try to read their minds. Like, say a boxer in a fight, or try to watch, like, someone working out, or watch someone running or something. Read their mind. Like, read their self-talk. You'll see who's going to win. You can see who the champions are. And me personally, I never let fatigue make a coward out of me. I'll stand so strong till the very second, and I will never let fatigue make a fucking coward out of me. My voice will never change. Someone will stick a gun to my head and I'll be like, pull the fucking trigger, motherfucker. I'm not going to do it. I can't. I don't even have it in me. I don't. For some reason, I get more savage when shit like that. This cop was writing me a ticket the other day, and I should not talk to cops like that. I'm like, hey, bitch, the fuck you doing? And people are like, oh, hell no, dude, what the fuck? I don't even know. It just comes out of me. I'm like, put that fucking pad away. You're writing me shit. I fucking move my car right now, but what the fuck is this? Fuck that shit. Get the fuck out of here, motherfucker. And I didn't even want to be disrespectful like that. I just went into that mode of like, I had been fucking lawyers, cops, all this shit. They kind of get me into a different mindset. And I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, I've found myself getting into that mindset as well. The more disciplined I am, the more I don't take shit from people.
I mean, I honestly want a lot of people, and you especially, and a lot of you guys out there, to stop taking shit from motherfuckers. A lot of the problems in the world today came from people letting people walk all over other people, and then being passive aggressive instead of fully fucking confrontational. Like, if everyone was fully confrontational, not passive aggressive bitches, the society would be way different.
100%. Yeah, that was always a big downside for me because my mom always let everybody walk all over her. So that's
most
what I
women
did.
do, and that's the problem.
100%. Yep. What? Speaking of women, what are you looking for?
I'm a one woman man. I always wanted to be married to one person. I believe in love. I'm like a hopeless romantic. Like, I really want something to work. But man, I've put my heart into I mean,
Do you think you're chasing?
it's been through. I'm probably up until now. But then now, what's the problem? If I'm not chasing, am I putting in enough? If I'm not chasing and willing to do my all, am I making the other party meet me more than in the middle?
Do you think,
I don't like playing the games. That's the thing.
you think it's a problem of another woman being at your level of self-mastery?
I would never blame them, but I'm just saying, like, let's just say this. Let's say you were with a group of individuals and you were the height of that group. Mm-hmm. And you thought you were so healed and you're killing it and you're at this certain level. Then you go get around someone like me who on your best month of your life, you couldn't touch 1/50th of the income I bring in. And you secretly didn't think that that was a measuring stick that you had till you realized how bad you were getting trumped. And then that person was actually really selfless with all this shit and didn't really take score from that. And they were actually someone who was highly aware and someone who was sought after for more than their money. Well, now everything's been completely flipped upside down. So now you realize that you're not that healed. You have so much work to do that you'll never be seen. And what's the fucking point? You might as well probably go get a loser that you could help. A lot of chicks would rather probably have some loser guy they could take care of than a guy at my level that makes them feel like they're nothing. And it's not my choice to make them feel like they're nothing. Like, I always thought that my chicks should feel like they're the queen because I answer to them and everyone else looks up to me. So I thought they should feel like they're on top of the world, but they don't because they haven't done anything yet. And I mean, so what do you have to do? Do you have to find someone who has nothing to lose? Or, I mean, do you have to find someone who has something to lose? Or do you have to find someone who's more evolved? What is it? Or someone who's just more willing to be your support system? I don't know. The thing is, I have so many people that support me in what I do and in my life that I would be very selfish to say that I need a partner, because I don't, because I have so many fucking people. And like, that's what I think all you guys should really focus on who are weird about being single or whatever. Start focusing on like just having better friends and a better system and a better circle. You don't really have to fuck the person for them to be in your fucking life in that way. And it could be a person of the opposite sex too. But chicks, you gotta not be so stupid and realize that most guys want to fuck you if they're saying they're your friend, unless they're fucking gay. I don't know. I mean, bro, it's just what it is.
Do you think that you'll ever get married and have that one person, that one woman?
I'm always optimistic about it, but now I don't need it, so I'll probably get it.
There you go.
Now that I don't need it, I'll probably get it.
Fair.
I used to need it. Like, even my ex, she is the most attractive person on the planet to me. I would do anything. And that's probably why it didn't work.
Right.
Because I was not the dynamic that I should be. Because I'm not like that with anyone. I'm like, take it or leave it, motherfucker. But isn't that a game? Like, I hate that shit. But with women, I really think you have to play that fucking game. Because if you're too available for them, they don't want you. And I mean, I saw it as massive commitment. I don't know if that's the problem, but I mean, I really feel like that's the problem. I really feel like it is. I really feel like if you play the game with them that women need you to play, then you'll have better control of it. Whoever controls the sex controls the relationship. And like, someone like me is like, I was highly attracted to all the girls I'm with, and I'm not a cheater. So they control it because I'm not going elsewhere. And then, I'm fucking, I find my connection through that. So men who find their connection through making love and through sexual interaction, and then they have a one-woman mindset, these individuals, they'll have a harder time.
So you've mentored a lot of people in your day. Who mentored you?
I mean, really, the top people I worked with from the beginning were like Bedros, and then just other people I've worked with, top individuals that I've worked with, but mainly probably Bedros and some other people whose books I read and worked with it, but directly probably, I'd say he's one of the top people.
Okay. What about in jail? Did you ever have any mentors?
No, it's just complete fuckery. The books of the people I read in prison were everything, but people in prison were just complete morons. I mean, just straight up. Nobody was operating from any type of wisdom. I was always the person who guided that shit.
How many books did you read?
Read like 4 or 5 books. I read
4 or 5 in jail.
Yeah, Outwitting.
That's it?
Yeah, 100%.
Holy shit.
Outwitting the Devil. I read Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I read 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World Class by Steve Siebold. And then I read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. But the thing is, I didn't read books in prison. I rewrote them. So I would read the page and rewrite the page. So this form of reading takes a year, you know, like it'll take you a year to rewrite a book, like, and really decipher and decode it and then start to live it. So I would rather someone reads a book and rewrites it in their own words rather than reading 50 books. Because all these books talk about the same shit. Why would you just need someone else's perception or perspective on universal laws, you know, our own consciousness, awareness, and everything I read about was personal development mindset. So it was all the same shit.
So you never read anything about like the Bhagavad Gita?
No.
None of that stuff?
No.
Chakras?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Not at all?
Self-studied.
There you go. So have you ever heard of like Kundalini energy, any of that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I think a lot of that shit is stuff that I learned through just my daily habits and my practice.
Have you experienced what that is, or do you know what that is?
I don't even know what it is.
Okay.
I could imagine that I know once someone starts explaining, I mean, different states or whatever. But anyone who's trying to, I think we really have an application issue, not an education issue. And everyone's hyper educated, you know.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that's the problem in today's society?
Yeah, everyone's trying to fucking learn all this shit like they're fucking so fucking smart and they have no fucking results. I think you should just pick one area and say, I'm going to be the best at this area and say, fuck all the other ones. And then once you get ahead, then you can start to study what the fuck you want, but I don't think it's needed. It's like having 7 fucking different subjects in school. Like, which one did you like, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You had no focus for the other ones.
Why do you think we're here?
We're here to fucking to better each other's life and push forward humanity and to create a better existence for everyone by truly walking your hero's journey. The book, yeah, Joseph Campbell, Hero's Journey, is probably one of the best books, and I did read that book too. But it was very early on in my time, and I didn't really understand it as much, and I didn't rewrite it. So I speak about the books I rewrote.
Gotcha. What was the biggest takeaway from that book, The Hero's Journey?
I was on mine, and to embrace it. I was starting my hero's journey, and it was time to embrace it.
What's the final stage?
Final stage is self-transcendence, where you come back and teach your people. You go on that journey, finding yourself, facing adversity, overcoming adversity, spending time alone. When a man travels alone, he's more valuable because he reflects more. And so a lot of people are trying to interrupt this process, and they shouldn't. So you're on your hero's journey, and you're creating the individual that you admire. Like I say, our purpose is, and that's self-actualization. Then when you come back from this, it's self-transcendence. It's time to teach.
What's past that?
Fucking death. I mean, self-transcendence is when you're the teacher. That's till the rest of your life. That's when you just become the advocate of the message. You've lived it for so long that people see it in you and they ask you, how'd you do that? How do you do this? What is this? So you spend the rest of your life and the rest of your time being accountable for those around you's growth and development.
Thank you, Wes.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, dog. Yeah.
Wherever you guys are listening to this podcast on, all I ask is that you open your mind, just drop your preconceived notions and just be open to the message, because the message is everything. At least it was for me.